Hi everyone, so I'm here to pitch my original TV pilot idea. And the show is titled Hip Hop Camp. So, when rich out of his mind, 23-year-old Dylan King has his rap dreams crushed and is lost on where to go to next in his career, he decides to find the next big hip hop sensation by starting his own reality TV show titled Hip Hop Camp. The winner of the show will be rewarded Dylan's inheritance money, which comes out to about $2 million. The show starts out with Dylan doing a freestyle while he heads to the studio over like a cool little rap instrumental. I would say something like Shook One, something that's really iconic that everyone would know from the moment they hear it. He continues to freestyle, and then another car pulls up next to him, full of with two dudes that are just listening, and they're both jamming out to everything that he's saying. Dylan gets excited from this and starts to record them as he freestyles, asking if they're fans and in the car next to him, and asking if they're waiting for his album to drop because he's been working on it for a long time. They then laugh and make fun of him, explaining that they don't like anything that he's doing. They've heard of him before and they just think he's the absolute worst rap sensation to ever come about, uh, which just leaves Dylan sitting there befuddled. Afterwards, we go into our first act where Dylan starts shooting a music video in West Hollywood. As the video comes to a close, the director talks to Dylan about how maybe he should change the concept of the video. Dylan ignores the director and continues to push his terrible ideas, having ideas like, oh, we should just throw more money and like let's drink in this instead, and just really bad ideas that's just not happening for a music video. Um, and that's when the director ends up calling him talentless, and Dylan takes offense to it because he's saying that he doesn't like the fact that he's called unoriginal and talentless. He heads home to Hollywood Hills, um, where he sees multiple gold and platinum records, Grammy records, awards, musical awards, so many other things, MTV awards, all of it. Um, all of these belong to his father, Jonathan King, aka Lazy. Uh, though he's never seen it all, but you can only see all his names on every single award. Dylan admires and envies these awards at the same time, and while he's feeling jaded by everything that has happened and why he can't reach that kind of level of success, his mother Bianca King, who is a famous actress, very famous actress and has her own rewards in her own perspective way, walks into the room and tries to comfort him. She tells him of how she didn't get her start in movies or TV until she had to create her own avenues. She's like sort of starts rubbing in her accolades into Dylan's face, talking about all the things that she's done by his age, which makes him feel like, scrutinized, like that he's not where his parents were at their age for himself. That's when he just gets the bright idea to start his own TV reality show in lieu to try to mix in his parents' lives, where his mom's life was in TV and everything, and his dad's life was in music, and he tries to mix in those lives together to see if he can like get the ball rolling on something of his own original concept in order to be his own original self. Um, from there on, he asks Bianca King for any connections and help in reality TV that she has, and she starts to look into it for him. Afterwards, he contacts his friend Charles for asking him for help to detail out everything else, and they push off into it. For the B story, we see TV director, reality TV director Sam Collins, who is in his like mid 40s, arguing with his boss, who is maybe in his mid 50s. His boss tells him if he doesn't deliver a great TV show, a great reality TV show for the company, then soon enough, then he'll be fired due to his last few shows being big flops. This pressure drives Sam to needing to find some kind of new show, and he desperately asks around the studio for ideas or people looking to start a show, trying to just hop onto anything, any project that he can. Um, but he's kicked out of office to office because no one wants to help him. He has a bad reputation at this point, with the fact of the matter that he's had so many flops in the last few years. That and the fact that he is seen as more of a wild TV director. He acts for too much. He pushes the envelope maybe a little too hard, and it starts to affect his reputation. As we go into Act Two, Dylan meets with Charles to present his plans, and they start to build a big bright brick. Charles at first is not interested in the idea of starting his own reality show. Charles wants to do his own thing. He's just trying to get through school so that he can continue to plan for his own future financially and everything like that. But he is quickly and easily convinced by Dylan to get involved in these very blurry, uncreated plans. Um, they talk about what kind of show it will be, the kind of people they will have, the kind of talent, the kind of competitions where they start mapping out each week. They'll have a new competition where they have rap battles or songs battling against each other. And whoever has the worst song, well, Dylan will be the judge and he'll be able to decide who gets kicked out and who gets to stay and who gets to continue to pursue their hip hop dreams. Um, and they start to look into the kinds of characters that they want, weirdos, gangbangers, hit makers all around, the super artsy type. They want to do all of those kind of things, gangster rappers, all of it, so that they can be able to submit their own legacy in this show. While the B story, Sam Collins gets a call from Bianca where she asks him to work with her son on the reality show, hopefully being the TV director because she had connection with him from beforehand when they've done reality shows together. At first, he thinks about it. He's hesitant to make the plan, but then he ends up saying no to it when he gets a different offer for a different show that's ongoing already, and he could be a part of a producer on the show. So he decides to go to the show and try to make that work and denies Bianca of working with Dylan. We go back to the A story. Dylan and Charles end up getting to a second home in Southern California. Dylan's second home in Southern California, where his parents had bought it. They end up changing this entire place into the setting for hip hop camp for the hip hop show, making it the setting, the look for their reality TV show. That's when they start to decorate everything and they start to design everything so that it can look like a moderately nice hip hop show, hip hop house, I should say, where they have all different kinds of artists throughout generations and generations. However, he tries to avoid having anyone like Lazy, for example, in midst of the show or in midst of the house because he wants to try and remind people he is not Lazy's son, but he is himself. He is Dylan King. He is his own person. So he tries to avoid having any kinds of pictures of Lazy or any kinds of music of Lazy, any kind of Lazy inspiration around the entire thing. As they finally realize that they have everything set up and they start to have uh, 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 a casting crew come through and everything like that, they realize that they don't have a TV director, though they have everything else set up for them, though they did get all the connections with camera crews and everything like that. They don't have a director. And so now Dylan freaks out, not knowing what he's going to do next. Back to the B story, Sam um, gets on the set of his new reality show where he takes control of it for directing, even though he was asked not to jump in and get involved in it. But he felt like the show was boring and he needed to spice up the Real Housewives show. It's like a Real Housewives type of show, but he needs to spice it up so that it can be more entertaining for the drama that it does bring. But while directing it, he ends up making a few bad calls between some of the characters and causing the villain of the show to end up actually freaking out in a panic on everybody else. And to the point that she ends up destroying basically the entire set, the entire restaurant that they were at. And it pushes Sam to end up getting fired from this show as well because because she decides that she wants to walk, which hurts his chances at keeping his job even more. But that's when he decides to tell his boss before he can get fired that he does have one more show that he promises will be a success by any means, and if it's not a success, they can fire him and take everything from him as well. Um, that's when we get into Act Three. Dylan and Charles are still at the house in the hills. Dylan is still panicking on everything that's happening, and he's scrambling to find a director, but he's not finding anyone that would be serious enough to work with him, even with all the connections that Bianca leaves him in order to call and see who would want to work with him and who would want to jump on the show. But he's not able to get anyone that actually would take him seriously. And that's when he starts to feel like his idea is going to go right down the drain, and all his hard work that he's put in is going to go right down the drain. We go to the B story. Sam, now on his last legs, is ready to get fired. That's when he calls Bianca and asks her if the offer is still up. At first, she's going to tell him no because she believed that Dylan was going to get somebody else. But then she ends up telling him, you know what? Yeah, go ahead and check out my son. He'll be at this address here. And so he gets the address to their house in the hills where the location is set. That's when we arrive to the house. Sam pulling into it, astonished at how beautiful it looks and at the design of it and everything like that. He's like feeling it from just like an outside perspective looking in. But when he comes in, he sees Dylan is being completely unprofessional, panicking on set, like just like being a complete madman, and he like starts to question, these are the people I'm going to be working with. But he knows that he doesn't have any other choice but to work with these guys, because in that he's going to lose his job. He's going to lose his credibility in general. And he's never going to be able to prove that he's still that great director that he once was with all of the great shows that he's directed in the past. This is when his interest in them peaks a little bit. He decides to jump on board with them, and they, obviously take him in without any kind of disinterest at all. And that's where they decide that they're going to push the show Hip Hop Camp forward, hoping that they can bring in all the characters of the such. And the next episode would start their very first episode in general. So the next episode will start their very first, I should say, show episode in general and everything like that, pushing them into more of the series. Um, and I was thinking of three little synopsis, three other episodes that could go with it. Is when Dylan tells Jonathan that he could have lived the same life Jonathan did. Jonathan dares Dylan to return to Jonathan's old neighborhood for a weekend. Dylan arrives, but has all but an easy time trying to fill in his father's shoes, aka he tries to live in the hood for just like literally a weekend and just realizes that he's not hood material. Uh, Another time is a sketch episode where Dylan and the cast all star in a small sketch episode where they recreate legendary hip hop music videos from like super old ones to super new ones. I just thought that would be a really cool runoff one from the show. Just something that's different from the main story plot and could give us all like just something fun to work with. Um, and then I also have one for Dylan having to have a rap battle or a rap beef that he has to settle in the house when two of his artists end up getting involved in a rap beef, and he has to settle it in the most business way that he can. And instead of capitalizing on it the way that he should and making it a crazy reality show, he tries to simmer it down, and it ends up becoming even a bigger deal than what it was before when he started. Um, so those are the ideas. That is my pitch for Hip Hop Camp, though. And it would go on for maybe about, I would say, nothing more than 10 episodes for the season, and will also be a single camera comedy show. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Have a good day.